Good evening and welcome to the Red and White Army podcast. I am Tony Young. There's also Bradley Young, Paul Wilson,
hello,
Callum Moore, and Nick Barnes will be joining us soon. Now we're going to have a few talking points for the game we had 2-2. We could have had 3 points, but really a goalkeeper giving a goal. I'm bemused still. I'm still bemused, still in shock.
You're not.
We go straight to Callum Moore with this one. What do you reckon on the game, mate?
Honestly, we played some unbelievable football in that first half. Like, I was just outstanding how we played. I mean, Sims and Stewart, unbelievable. I mean, Sims, how he keeps the ball, gets other players into the game is just unbelievable. I thought we played really well in that first half. Second half, we played well, and obviously, fortunately, they had a free kick, and then from there, QPR with a better side, they just were pressuring us, and then obviously that corner kick, their goalkeeper was unmarked, and unfortunately it went in right at the end, and then I thought, I don't believe it, and then obviously Roberts hit the bar, didn't he, and I thought it was in, and I was celebrating, but just one of them things, but we're still unbeaten, got a point, and then Sheffield United Wednesday, so personally I think it's a good point and a good start to the season, from my point of view.
Good start of the season, but this is a question I've got to ask here. If we get an injury with Sims and Stewart, what happens there?
Well, see, this is the problem. Sims gets injured and Stewart gets injured. Where we're going to go from there? I mean, Jack Diamond is absolutely horrendous. He cannot play Championship football, and we'll be lost. We've got no other strikers except from Sims and Stewart who can score goals every week. But that's going to be the thing that I'm worried about. If Sims gets injured or one of the two, it's going to struggle, aren't we? Because even have one up front, it's tough. I mean, who else have we got that can play in behind? We've got Jack Clark and Roberts can maybe push in there, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard if they get injured. But look, on the bright side, Sims has scored 3, hasn't he?
3 and 2.
3 and 2.
Yeah, 3 and 2.
That says something, doesn't it? That he's a natural goal scorer. So give him the ball, and he's going to score, isn't he? So yeah.
Bradley, you was also there at the game. What did you reckon on the game, mate?
Yeah, I thought Stewart had a good goal first half as well as Sims, getting back onto his goal tally. And awful free kick to give away by Gooch. But also I seen Che given by his throat as well. So I think Che should have been sent off for that challenge as well.
But what we've had is dodgy referees for the last.
The referees have been disgraceful.
We've had him before.
That referee was honestly utter disgraceful. I mean, the amount of times Sims got pulled by his shirt or Stewart got pulled and pushed off the ball and he never give it. I mean, the Gooch foul for me. How he didn't see that when Cher put his hands to his throat, I don't know how he didn't see that. It was ridiculous, but just how referees are these days. We always get awful referees, it seems.
Well then, Paul, what did you reckon of the game yourself, mate?
Same as the others, really. But I think the one that injured Ballard, he should have been sent off as well.
The Dormer, that was a nasty tackle.
That was nasty, that.
Right.
He should have been sent off.
They were dirty.
Because of that.
Out of times they went in and hurt our players was just ridiculous. I mean, they were a dirty side,
I think the frustration was boiling them over, though, because we were just outplaying them in every single area.
I personally think the way they got back in that game was that free kick. If they didn't have a free kick or they didn't score, we would have just won that game. But I think when they got that free kick and he scored it, I think that's when they got the confidence back from that goal. And from there, they got back in it, didn't they? But I personally think that we should have won that game, really. The way we played throughout the game, we really should have got 3 points. But it's a championship, isn't it? It's just, you can't predict.
Is as I was saying, it just looked like deja vu of the Charlton
Yeah.
2 year ago.
Yeah.
And, like, it just we cannot hold out for that final
Nah.
third.
Honest, we can't.
Mm.
No. I knew, man. I was with my mates and I told him that I can see a QPR second goal here, and then what happened? They scored the second goal. I just know us too well that Sunderland, we have a good position. We win 2-0, 3-0, and then we just lose it at the end. It's just this is the problem throughout the years. We've just been in so many good positions, winning League One. The amount of times we were in like these positions to like win the league or get promotion, and we've just ended up drawing the game or losing. That's just how it's been over the few years, but. Just what it is, isn't it?
By the way, Nick Bond can't get on through his phone, so he's trying his work phone.
All right.
If you can get on through there.
Right. I've got a few comments on the live chat. Bradley, do you want to read them out?
Yes, of course, yeah. Lewis Casino says, good evening. Hello again, Lewis. How are you doing? Are you all right? Lil Jinx 1223 said it was the best 87 minutes of footy till then.
I agree.
Also, it says it was a hell of a free kick, not going to lie.
It was. Very good free kick.
And also, it says we need to get some good backups in January. Yeah, they do, to be fair. Ben Allison on the live chat also says, is anyone going to the Gateshead versus Notts County tomorrow?
Nope.
No. I don't know what paint to it, but there we are.
And also on the live chat, Ben Allison goes, I think Sunderland have got a new striker. So...
because Ben's on about that Costa Rica guy.
Yeah, 18-year-old, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, here we go. I've got a little thing here. 2-2 draw, right? For the first 45 minutes, played out of our skin.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Where do you think it went wrong?
Where it went wrong is, I don't know if you're going to disagree with me or not. I think when he took Sims off, and when he took Sims off, we looked completely different because Sims gave us energy, and I think once he took Sims off and Jack Clark off,
it just wasn't the same team.
No. And didn't Embo come on? Am I right?
Embo came on. Yeah, he came on for
honestly.
Clark,
Embo now, I know I rated him towards last season because he did really well. At the minute, he's dreadful. He's absolutely dreadful. I mean, he came on, he just looked like he couldn't string a pass, so he just couldn't do anything on the pitch. Just useless.
Lewis Casino always says on the live chat as well, all jokes aside, I'm looking forward to Wednesday night's encounter. Have a good time in Sheffield. Try and keep our streets clean because recent teams have come up here and turned it into a shit tip.
It's a shit tip. No, I'm sorry.
Nick's here.
It's fine. It's obviously my phone. Obviously, the my personal phone just doesn't like it.
Good evening, Nick.
Nick. Good evening.
Right.
Sorry about the delay.
No, don't worry. It's not a problem at all.
No problem. We were all at the game, Nick. We was all talking about this 2-2 draw. I don't know if you saw the match or if you was able to watch any of it. What do you think, and where did we go wrong, do you think?
Well, I was commentating on it, so I saw the whole thing. Where did Sunderland go wrong? I just think a bit of, two things, tiredness and naivety would be the two things I would pinpoint. I mean, Alex Neil disagreed with the naivety aspect of it afterwards, but I do think, when you look back at the goals, the Dieng goal in particular, Patterson came off his line, changed his mind too late by that stage. The moment for him had gone. Had he stayed on his line, he'd have made the save. So that's inexperience. That's just where, he needs people in front of him to be telling him what to do. He needs to be sort of more composed in himself. And nobody could legislate for a 6'4" goalkeeper coming up and the ball dropping on his head. No. But there were that they could have managed that situation better ultimately. And had they won 2-1, nobody, we'd all be talking about what a good performance from Sunderland. And, overall, the majority of the game, they were in control and they played very well. But unfortunately, that last 5-10 minutes of the game, they did let it slip away from, for a variety of reasons. Mainly, as I say, one or two players, Dan Neil, Alex Pritchard earlier, Jack Clark, were just shattered. They just didn't have the legs to deal with the Queen's Park Rangers team, who actually had thrown on fresh legs, thrown on forwards, thrown a goalkeeper up, and they just failed to deal with it.
Yeah,
totally agree. We were just saying where we think we might have lost the game is where we took Sims off and Clark off, where like Sims and Clark looked like they were playing together and procreating all the time. As soon as that, it just went dead myself.
I'm not 100% sure it was just because he took those two players off. I mean, when I asked him about why did he take Sims off, two reasons. One, he's thinking about Sheffield United on Wednesday night, and Sims hasn't had the minutes. He'd had 45 minutes before he came to Sunderland. He played pretty much the whole of the game against Bristol City, and he'd played an hour on Saturday. And more pertinent from Alex Neil's point of view was he said he wasn't playing very well. And so for that reason, he took him off. Now, you could argue that keeping him on with his height, back defending set pieces or defending in the last 5-10 minutes of the game would have helped them. But I think his feeling was that Sunderland would have been, themselves looking to counter-attack, looking to sort of deny Queen's Park Rangers that mentality that in the last 10 minutes they were just going to lay siege to the Sunderland goal. But as it happened, Queen's Park Rangers just threw on forward after forward, and were able to sort of bully Sunderland to a certain extent, I suppose. But I do, Clark was he was tired. I mean, he was just. I mean, this is
one of the yellow card.
This is one of the big and there's that aspect to it as well. And I think this is something that Sunderland's players are adapting to, is they're finding the pace of the Championship is far greater than the pace in League One. And an hour in, they're feeling it. These are established Championship teams that they're playing. They've got a bit more guile about them. They're used to the pace. They're used to what the Championship's throwing at them. And Sunderland are learning that at the moment. I did think overall, in the 3 games they played in the Championship so far, I felt against Coventry they were the best team in the first half. Coventry were the best team in the second half. Bristol City were the best team in the first half. Sunderland were by far and away the best team in the second half. But I'd actually thought against Queen's Park Rangers, Sunderland for the majority of the game were the better team. And that is progress in itself. It wasn't a game of, Queen's Park Rangers having the better of the second half and Sunderland the best of the first half. At least in this match, until those final 10 minutes, Sunderland did have some consistency.
Yeah.
Totally agree with that.
100%.
As I was saying, I think I'll be happy with a point there. I was saying to Bradley all through the game, if we get a point from this, I'll be amazed. But 3 points was beyond expectation for me to go and win against QPR.
Yeah.
And 2-0 win, I'd never dreamed of that.
I mean, personally, I was shocked how dominant we were against QPR, because I know start of the game, I looked at the starting 11 and they looked very strong. I mean, it looked quite a good side. I thought, they're going to come here and, produce a good game. But to be fair, I was surprised how we dominated so much in the first half. I mean, we could have had 2, 3 or 4, but it's just second half, we just run out of steam. But when I went to Bristol, first half, we lost the midfield, defence. Gooch was everywhere. He couldn't defend. And so that Semenyo he used to play for us, he was causing us a nightmare. Second half, I think he changed the system a bit, Alex Neil, and I think he went more attacking, and I think he changed Gooch where he was. He was more attacking on the right. But yeah, I think second half in Bristol, we were very good, and I think 3 points were deserved. But I know we could have been top of the league, but I think considering we've just come out from League One and first season of the Championship for a long time, I think where we stand 5th or 6th, I think is very good. And if we can keep it up, I think mid-table finish will do me fine.
So do you reckon it was 3 points lost or 1 point gained yourself?
On Saturday,
Yeah.
I think 1 point. I mean, it's 3 point loss, isn't it? Because it felt like a defeat when it
Yeah.
finished. You thought about a point against QPR is not a bad result at home at all. Obviously, I know lost. We winning 2-0 in the 87th minute was not great, but getting a point against QPR at home was quite a good result, especially the team they had on the pitch, the players they brought on. I think a point's substantial, and I'll take a point at Sheffield United on Wednesday because I watched them against Borough, and they've got some very talented young players in that midfield. So like Sander, he'll cause a lot.
Yeah, Rida Kadra.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I'll take a point against Sheffield United. I think Stoke on Saturday, I think we must win that. I think we'll win that, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
So
if we're going into the transfer market, where do you reckon we need to bring players in then?
I reckon we need another 2 centre-backs, like defenders. I think because obviously injury for 8 weeks, isn't he? 8 weeks out injury. Owen I was playing there with Bath on Saturday, which was Owen did fabulous, but I think he's not going to be consistent there enough. I think we got Bailey Rice, which I mean he did brilliant last season when we won the playoff final and we got to Wembley. But I think it's a step up from Bailey Rice. I think I'm not going to doubt him because I think he's a really good defender. But I was at Wednesday in the cup, and Bailey Wright looked really shaky. I mean, he looked like he never played football in his life. I mean, he looked all over the place. I think we need 2 new defenders, another striker, just be on the safe side, and I'd say another midfielder because I think Matete will. I think he should go back out on loan to Fleetwood and replace Jack Diamond because I think he needs to go out on loan as well because I think Championship's too tough for Jack Diamond. I don't think he'll excel at Sunderland.
So where do you think we need to strengthen up, Nick?
Well, I wouldn't disagree. I mean, definitely now Ballard's injured and he's going to be out until, at the very least, probably December. They're going to need, I think, centre-back cover. I mean, Bailey Wright and Bart aren't, by the looks of things, going to play together. The reason 09 came in was because he's right-footed and he's got pace. So I think, but is 09 the solution for Alex Neil? I doubt it.
No.
He certainly, will have to be for the short term because Winchester seems to be out of the picture, even though Winchester was playing as the right-sided centre-back in pre-season. But
start playing Troy Hume. George, I think you start playing Troy Hume a bit more in Winchester. Give them games.
Well, I don't. You see, Troy Hume's been unfortunate not that he's not getting in as the right back because that's clearly where his position is. But he's there as cover, so they've got cover in that sense. But he will need another right-sided, young, pacey centre back. So I suspect they will be rechanneling their efforts now to try and get, even if it's a lone player, in to cover for Ballard's absence. They definitely need a central midfielder, someone who's got a bit of experience. Evans isn't going to last the season game in, game out, and I thought he was outstanding on Saturday. But they need a more dominant forward attacking central midfielder. They'll need another striker. So you can see where Alex Neil's coming from when he says he wants 4 or 5 players, and you can hear the frustration from him every time he does a press conference that he's not got bodies in at the minute because he needs them in sooner rather than later. But it is what it is at the minute. But he can't legislate for that Ballard injury. That was the last thing he could have wished for or hoped for. And that sort of throws a spanner in the works, if you like. If you're the recruitment team and you've got other targets, and then suddenly you've got to be trying to find a centre back as well.
I've got a few questions on live chat, Bradley. Do you want to ring them up?
Yes, Gerard Tom says squad so like that injury's going to cost us in terms of results, so where is the money? That's a question there.
Sorry, on answer to that, I mean, there is no money. I mean, there's very little money. I mean, this is the whole point of the club targeting Premier League under-23 players. The Premier League now there'll be a raft of under-23 players who are aged 22, 23, who now the Premier League are clubs in the Premier League are trying to move because they can't play in the under-21s because that's the way that the academies now. It's an under-21 league that they're all playing in. So there will be a glut of 22, 23-year-olds, but they've got to find the right ones. They've got a gem in Ballard. They were lucky there. Jack Clark. They need to find, this is who they'll be looking for. Unless Alex Neil can, flex a bit of muscle and say, actually, I need a bit of money spent on an experienced late 20s, early 30s, whatever it might be, centre-back, midfielder, striker, because that's what the squad needs.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that, 100%. There's talks that I was reading about that we're bringing in some forwards, potential forward signings. Johnson Clark-Harris could be coming to us. Could be. Matic Vidra, Sam Greenwood. We've all been linked to these players.
Well, Sam obviously was at Sunderland originally, and again might be surplus to requirement now because of his age. Vidra was linked a few weeks ago, but nothing seems to have happened. But I mean, that's not to say that they're not in the. They'll be in the market for a lot of players. As Alex Neil said the other day, they were working on 4 deals. 2 of them seem fairly straightforward. 2 of them seem very, very difficult. Then you get a deal like Broadhead, which goes pear-shaped within hours. When he was almost on the brink of coming to Sunderland. So you can see why it's such a difficult market, because Sunderland are not the only club in it. There are a lot of clubs in this market, and Sunderland are in one way the new boys on the block in the Championship. Trying to find players that can readily step in and become first team players, and not players that you can put them on the bench and we might be able to utilise them coming on. These are going to be players who come in and can make a claim to start in the first 11.
Mm-hmm.
Totally agree with that. Absolutely. More chat and live chat. Bradley, do you want to read that?
Yeah. Acacia Cameron Jude says, I'm seeing Sheffield United 2, Sunderland 2 on Wednesday. Also, she says, but Sander Burge will be dangerous on Saturday. But at least Billy Sharp is out injured if he's done his ankle, which is bad again for us at Sheffield United. Also, she says, what's happening with Bailey Wright as he didn't come in until the second half on Saturday? And
Bailey Wright didn't come on because he's hasn't got any pace, so he's not going to play. Barton Wright. I don't think we'll see Barton Wright play together this season in the first team.
Yeah, because apparently he also says Alex Neil, if it was Danny Bath who was injured, he says he would have brought Bailey Wright on because he's the middle man, apparently.
Well, he may well have done, but he's also had, if Barter got injured, he had Elise as well, who's left-footed.
Yeah, so, go with him as well.
But 09 came on and Alex Neil answered it afterwards, basically, because he's got pace and he's right-sided.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Yeah.
What Bailey Wright is that he's got no pace at all.
No.
But everybody can destroy him because, I mean, when I went to watch us in the Cup against Sheffield Wednesday, as I said before, he couldn't defend a League One, average, attacking player. So I'm just worried about if Bailey Wright's starting on Wednesday, he's going to severely struggle and we're just going to struggle defensively. I'm really worried about defensively on Wednesday. Attacking, we're fine. But it's when Sheffield United come to us, what's going to happen if Bailey Wright's out of position, or we're relying on Bath to clear it out, or Gooch to come in the middle, or Nyan to start relying on them more. Defensively, I really worry about us this season.
I think that's where we've always lacked the defence the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
We haven't had an established centre-back at all.
When Ballard and Bath were in centre-back, I was so, convinced they were a really good partnership, and they were. I wasn't worried about it. But now Ballard's injured, I'm starting to think now we're going to concede quite a lot. I might be wrong, but I think we're going to concede a lot more than we were. Now, without Ballard, I just personally think we're going to struggle because Bailey Wright cannot. I mean, he's a good defender, but don't get wrong. But sometimes he gets caught out a lot, far too often. If the ball comes over, he either jumps and loses the ball, or he just kicks it, and it's just. I just really think we're going to struggle, but I might be wrong. But
I don't think we're going to see Bailey Wright on Wednesday night. I don't think Wright will play. I think it'll be Barton O'Nien, unless he's prepared to risk Winchester as that right-sided centre half, which I don't think he will be. I think he trusts O'Nien. He's played in there before.
Yeah, O'Nien.
And O'Nien will get the nod over Wright. I mean, Wright and Bart is not a centre-back partnership you'll play in the Championship.
Yeah, I think O'Nien's will definitely got the start again on Wednesday.
O'Nien, like really played well. Like defensively, he was really good on the ball and he was solid. So I don't mind O'Nien and Bath. I hope we just can defend better without Ballard. I just hope we don't concede a lot of goals. And attacking wise, we're fine. Like I love watching us play when we attack, but it's just the other side of the pitch that we can struggle. But that's.
Right, we've got a few more things on the live chat, Brad.
Yeah, I've got a few here. Lewis Casino says Ryan Brewster, Edelman Indigne and Sander Burge will more likely be our attack on Wednesday night. Most likely will.
Ryan Brewster. I've never rated Ryan Brewster. When Sheffield United bought him for 30 million from Liverpool, or where's it from? They bought him for. I don't know where it was.
Can't remember the team now. It was a championship team, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When Ryan Brewster was. I can't remember where it was.
Swansea.
Was it not Swansea City? I think it was.
Yeah,
That rings a bell. Yeah, rings a bell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't rate Ryan Brewster. I didn't really rate him when he was at Swansea. I don't think he's got that striker mentality. I don't think he's got that scoring mentality in him. I think he's not brilliant, but we'll wait and see if he starts on Wednesday. But there you have it.
Well, Lewis Casino says 23.5 million from Liverpool. That's how much Sheffield gave him. Acacia Cameron Judes did say Swansea, so we were correct there. So, and also Craig Jeff on the live chat says hi, Tony and Bradley. All right, Craig.
Hi, Craig. Right, other talking points. What we're going to go through. I think we've gone through players that we need in. How about players out for this season? What do you think? Loans, putting them out on loan.
Right, players out for me. I think Harrison Sonner should be going out on loan myself because he's only a young lad, and I think he needs to go to a League One team to get game time.
Yeah, I personally think Jack Diamond needs to go out on loan either to a League Two side or League One. I mean, I know he's like Hartlepool, which he's more of that. Like he's more that kind of player which he can do it in those leagues, but Championship he's never going to get game time. Jay Matete, I think he should go back out on loan to get more game time, more experience. Who else?
Thinking who we've got.
I suspect Winchester will probably be loaned.
Winchester as well. Possibly go out.
I think Jack Diamond needs to definitely leave out on loan. Jay Matete as well, because I don't think he'll get much game time, to be quite honest.
I mean, I think there'll be one or two under 23, under 21 stroke players that will go on loan. But of the players that have been involved pre-season, I think the four that are most likely to go are Diamond, Matete, Sona, and Winchester.
Yeah.
Should go out on loan. I know that sounds really crazy, but I think should have like League One, like for like a couple of like season. I know it sounds stupid, but I personally think it should.
It's not stupid. What you think?
I just think I don't know. I like Embleton, right? I think he's good, but just dodgy. Like on his day, he's really good. On his bad days, he's worst player I've seen, and I think it'll do him good to go out on loan. I don't know. I think he can do with restarting and just getting game time and like improving himself and then come back. I mean, it might be wrong, but that's how I think he'd be good to get like to out a season long loan somewhere. But
Right then, guys, let's talk about the game ahead against Sheffield United. What scores do you reckon it's going to be? We do this every week, Nick.
Well, honestly, with the way the games have gone so far, it's impossible. I just don't know. I mean, I fear, every game you go to, you fear something going to get found out, and they've been fine. And Sheffield United it's a big test because they're ex-Premier League in the last couple of years. You've just been mentioning the sort of money they've been spending on players. They're back at home. They've not had a bad start to the season. It's another test. It's been pointed out, Sunderland are very good going forwards and they're vulnerable at the back. So I think we're almost certainly going to see goals. But they've also got a very good team spirit. And I think they'll be stung, obviously, by Saturday's result and what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But they're very resilient. And I do think that I think they'll do all right at Bramall Lane. I'm not overly concerned about them. Whether the results score, you throw the cards in the air and just see where they land, because it's so hard at the moment to get a barometer of what the standard overall is like in the Championship, because it's varied so much so far in the 3 games that they've played.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think I asked a 2-1 before, but a 3 points of Bramall Lane would be. But if we draw, then that's a brilliant point against a very strong Sheffield United side. We've started well this season. I've been impressed with how and you can't predict scores at the minute. Nick said, we can't predict scores because we've scored more than 2. Well, it's been 2. It was 3-2. We beat Bristol 2-2 on Saturday, so you can't predict the scores. But I personally would take a point. I think it'd be a huge result at Bramall Lane against the ex-Premier League side recently in the Prem for a couple of seasons. I'm playing Europa League football. So I think, personally, a point will be great at Bramall Lane. But 3 is bonus. But I personally think we'll take a point at Bramall Lane.
So what are you saying then? What score?
I would say 2-1 earlier to Sunderland, but I've got another score, my man. I think we're going to have to draw another 2-2. I think it's going to be another 2-2 draw, personally.
2-1, 2-2.
Yeah.
Right, Paul, what do you fancy, mate? You've hardly spoke tonight, and Callum's talking over your reign at the moment for talking.
I actually said 3-1, but I think Alex Neil will change it. Boys play better than we did at the weekend, so I'm going to say 3-0 Sunderland.
3-0 Sunderland, right? Nick, what do you fancy? If he was going to change the score,
I just don't know. There's part of me fears a defeat. Part of me thinks there'll be another draw. Part of me says that the way they've pulled up, the way that they've turned up so far in the games, they could spring a surprise, a 1-0, away from home. So it's very. The fact that Stewart and Sims are getting goals is a real bonus. I think that's a big positive, and there are goals in this team. And that has got to be a bonus. So, I don't know the scoreline, but I think there'll be goals. It hasn't got 0-0 written all over it. It's not that sort of game.
So I'll put you as undecided for a score.
Yeah,
so
fine.
Bradley, yourself, son, what do you fancy?
I think it's going to be 2-1 to Sunderland, and I think Pritchard and Stewart's going to score. That's what I think.
You're actually going for a scorecast. Bloody hell, that's a big one. Yeah. Myself, I'm going to sit on the fence here. It's going to be 1-1. We're going to win the first half, and it's going to be a midfield battle, and it's going to be Sheffield United in the second half.
Yeah.
I think on Wednesday, I'll draw it in the first half, and I think second we'll have it about 15-20 minutes in, and then we'll start to ease off a bit, and then we'll see more backing at us more constantly. And I think it will test us out. It will test our defence, certainly test our defence. But I'll personally say again, I will celebrate a point me at Bramall Lane. It's a big game, big team, like 2 big clubs, big ground, big atmosphere. So I'll personally think I would take a point at Bramall Lane any day.
I think the same team's going to start as well as Saturday, except from Ballard, obviously, and put 09 as right centre back again. That's what I think.
I think that's probably going to be the case. To accommodate Stewart and Sims, it'll probably be 3 at the back.
Yeah,
so it wouldn't surprise me if it is the same 11. Yeah, as you say, apart from Ballard.
I totally agree with that myself. Yeah. This is another thing. The next game, Stoke City. How do you think we're going to do on that game?
I think I really think we'll get a point at Wednesday, and I personally think, my opinion, we'll beat Stoke. I really do think we'll beat them. I know they've struggled the Championship a few seasons now, where they were favourites to go up the first time, and they've struggled with managers, with goalkeepers, with fans. They've had awful couple of seasons in the Championship. So I think, personally, draw on Wednesday, 3 points on Saturday, and that'd be great. That'd be great results away from home, personally.
Same for you, Paul. What do you think?
I think it'd be tough. It's Michael O'Neill's side, isn't it? So I'll take a point against them.
Brad?
1-1.
I'm going to say 1-1 because we've got some players like Dwight Gale from Newcastle. We've got Aidan Flint as well. He's a really good defender. Also, Will Smallbone as well. He's another good one to look at. So possibly a draw from that game for me. I think a 1-1 draw.
And how about you, Nick? What do you think?
Difficult. I mean, I was certainly looking, going into this week, I'm always that old sort of cliched point away from home, win your home games. And I think these are two very difficult games potentially, because they are two established, if you like, Championship / Premier League clubs. You know, I mean, we can't forget Sunderland have been a League One club for 4 years. There's clearly a step up for them, and they're adjusting to that at the minute in terms of their, you know, getting tired in games, those mistakes they're making to concede goals. But at the other hand, you know, they've adapted well because they've got pace, they've got young players with talent. So they're sort of bridging the gap at the minute. But I think 2 away games against 2 experienced teams in a week, having just had a testing weekend against Queen's Park Rangers, it's a big challenge for them. It's a big ask. And I think Alex Neil will be very mindful of, you know, how they perform at Bramall Lane on Wednesday, with a view to what he does then at Stoke on the Saturday in terms of personnel.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Brad, there's some more live chat. Would you like to
Yes, there is. Acacia Cameron Duty is waiting no NDA to score, and Ryan probably to get one as well, as Billy is out injured, or Sanderberg. Craig Jeff says, I think a point to Sunderland on Wednesday, so he's predicted a draw on Wednesday. Real Tour fan says, since when did you support Sunderland, Craig? Craig Jeff says, I do not. And Real Tour fan says, Newcastle face Man City on Saturday, Craig. Craig Jeff says, okay.
Right.
Actually, I've got a question for you, Nick. Out of all the managers we've had, what was the worst manager you've actually interviewed and the best manager?
Good question.
David Moyes would be the worst. Because, you know, regardless of results or anything, he was just a very difficult person to deal with in interview terms, because he was very sort of passive aggressive, if you like. He wanted to take control. The best was probably would be Roy Keane. I mean, he was just a delight to interview. He was just it was fantastic. You know, it was always a challenge, but you always look forward to going to interview Roy. You know, it was always a pleasure. It wasn't in any way a burden. So the sort of polar extremes, if you like, in terms of characters.
I was thinking about Roy King as the manager at Sunderland when I saw the price of him going. I put a bet on him when I went. Next minute, he's out the running. I thought, oh God. I thought he's coming back, and I thought that would have been a brilliant. But Neil has done an amazing job so far. What he's gone, I think, is it 15 games unbeaten?
19 games unbeaten.
19 games, yeah, isn't it?
19 games unbeaten.
That's in the league, yeah.
I mean, fantastic manager, unbelievable manager. I mean, to get him in, because at the start people were like, oh, he was Alex Neil. I mean, going from Preston, he was in Norwich. And he's like a winning. He's got that winning mentality. He loves to win games. He's passionate. I just love his passion. Like, when we win games, he loves the fans. What he's done at Sunderland, he's changed Sunderland. Like, the style, the football we play now, from like 3 or 4 years ago, is absolutely amazing. Like, on Saturday, the staff, we just look like, I don't know, we just playing free-flowing football, like past 3-4 years, we've had Phil Parkinson, Jack Ross, and these managers who they're not having attack-minded like brains. They've had very defensive-minded brains. We've hoofed the ball up. We've wasted time. We've like lacked in like energy. We've like lacked in passion. And since Alex Neil's come in, all the players have seemed to be geared up and want to win and always like fighting till the end. I mean, it's just different Sunderland to what I've seen the past 4 or 5 years.
I thought Lee Johnson was quite poor as well.
I like Lee Johnson.
I don't think he was poor. I think, give him his due. You look at his record, it stands up to scrutiny through the season where it unravelled was those sort of heavy defeats, which nobody sort of predicted, nobody saw them coming, and they weren't one-offs. They happened too often.
Yeah.
And so and then there were, he was probably too OCD, if you like, in certain areas. But I don't think he was a bad manager. I don't think he did badly. I mean, Sunderland first half of the season, the results certainly stand up. I mean, what were they, third when he was sacked? So I don't. You can sit back and say Lee Johnson was a bad manager. He wasn't. It didn't quite get it over the line, and we'll have that argument all day long as to whether he would have seen them promoted. I probably think not. But he hasn't quite got that cutting edge that Alex Neil's got. But I don't. As I said, I don't think he was a bad manager.
Yeah,
it's just circumstance. It just didn't go with him, if you like.
Yeah.
I mean, I was back Lee Johnson, but obviously he won the Papa John's Trophy, and then he got us in the playoffs, and then he got us promotion, and he got sacked after the Bolton game, which that Bolton game really destroyed a lot of fans. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, how we got beat 6-0 off Bolton, like, was ridiculous. I mean, just didn't turn up. I mean, it was absolutely the worst game I've seen us play League One for the 4 seasons we were in there, I think. But yeah, one of the worst managed and we've played, and I've watched play as well. But
on the other hand, we're talking about his bad points. Look when the good points he'd done. When he Wycombe Wanderers, no one ever thought we were going to beat them 3-0.
Yeah. And a good point as well. Always when I am also winning the Papa John's Trophy as well. Either.
Yeah, there's good moments, Lee Johnson. I love his passion.
There was a lot of good, but I mean, the problem was this. Jack Ross failed marginally. Phil Parkinson wasn't the right fit. Lee Johnson failed again marginally, if you like. What it needed was that Alex Neil's got that extra 10% out of this team. He saw that when he came in. What he achieved, what his focus for those last 18 games of last season was such that he, was able to sort of, he himself will tell you that if he hadn't got promotion, in his eyes, that would have been a failure. So he was driven, very, very driven to achieve that. But he came in, his baseline was coming in February. I mean, but bear in mind that Lee Johnson had been there, from the start of the season, pre-season and so on. And so there are lots of things to take into account. And we, Alex Neil's in the early days of this season, and we haven't seen him encounter a bad run yet, which he will.
We will,
because that's football.
Yeah.
And we haven't yet seen how he responds to that at Sunderland.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I
agree. But as I say, Alex Neil came in, I think we drew his first game, and we beat Wigan 3-0, and I knew after that game we just looked a different side. We looked strong, we looked hungry, wanted more goals, and we just looked a different asset, like a different team altogether than from Wigan. After that, we just went on to win games, and then obviously got the playoffs, and then we were strong, and we were strong against Sheffield Wednesday. We went to their ground, played really well, and then obviously Roberts won it for us, and then the final, dominate the final. Wick, not even there; they just were hidden. We just absolutely wrecked Wycombe Wanderers. We could have won 5 or 6-0. I mean, we just absolutely shredded them to bits. But I think Alex Neil this season, I think if it can finish just 10th or mid-table, I think that'll be a very successful achievement, especially past 4 years we've had managers after managers and players leaving and struggling to get players in. I think mid-table this season will be a very good finish and success.
Right, guys, I think it's about time we left the studio. Thanks for everybody for turning up. Thank you to our special guest, Nick Barnes, taking time out of work and coming straight on to speak to us.
But yeah,
No problem. Apologies for the slight delay in getting on.
Yeah.
It's no problem. Like, you done what you said you would for us, and we totally applaud you for that.
Yeah.
Any live chat news, Bradley, before we go off air?
Nothing. No, not from what I've read out before. There's nothing at all on that live chat at all.
So
Actually, Nick, did you see the incident that Chair done on Lyndon Gooch?
Oh, that was the question.
I
the
didn't see
weekend?
it at the time, but I've seen subsequently, obviously on social media and the like. I mean, there were several actually incidents that Jeremy Simpson didn't pick up on, which another afternoon a referee would have done, and it would have been a potential game changer. But there's nothing you can do now. I mean, I just hope we don't get Jeremy Simpson again in the near future, because I think generally, championship referees should be of a higher sort of standard. But there you go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, as I say, it's good night from me, Tony Young. Thank you, Bradley Young. Thank you, Callum. Thank you, Paul. And thank you, Nick, for a good
Thank
show.
you.
thank you
No
very
problem. Thank
Thanks
you.
very much indeed, Nick.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night, all. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Brilliant.
Brad, how do I end this broadcast?
There you go.
It's still live, mind.
I know.
This end it is.